Welcome back, everyone, to the SLTV Hearthstone Season 1 LAN Finals with me, Aquablad, again for casting. We got a few more matches to go for the day before we have the final brackets for tomorrow.
These last 3 games are going to be the last games for each player in the round robin. So these games count for some players. For Dog, if he wins this, he's going to be able to go through. For Thijs, if he wins this, he just shrugs. If he loses, he just shrugs again. So for Dog, this is a super important match. For Thijs, well, it's just bragging rights more than anything.
Yeah, basically, I think Thijs is guaranteed to go through no matter what, right? Like, Dog needs to win the game. Otherwise, he's going to be competing, I believe, against everyone else for the 2-3 tie. There's going to be like maybe a 3-way tie at some point, and if he doesn't have a good head-to-head, he might end up losing that and getting knocked out on the top 4 for the double elimination bracket. So for Thijs, there's no seeding either, so it doesn't matter whether or not he wins here. He just wants to prove to everyone that he's just the best.
But he is the top dog.
Yeah.
And Dog is bottom dog, I guess.
Back to the doghouse with you.
So for Dog, this is super important. For Thijs, not so much. Yeah. So Dog will want to win this because it just makes his life a little bit easier. He doesn't have to rely on any tiebreakers, any matches to decide who goes through. He can just kind of sit back, relax after this game, and not kind of rely on other people having different results.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And you always want to win your game, so you don't rely on other people, because this game's about you and you want to rely on yourself. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so until then, before we start the match, both players have again pieces of the interview that they want to share with you. You've never seen that. It's always original. So yeah, let's go forward.
I joined the competitive scene in Hearthstone pretty early. I played from the beta. I didn't play any competitive in the beta, but when there was the King of the Hill going on, but was casted by Artosis and Doha, it was one of the first tournaments that was played every week. And once I had get an invite into that, I took my chance because I was nobody before that, and I won it 9 times in a row. And from that point on, I started to get into the scene. I had one chance, and now I'm into the scene. And yeah, I still cannot really believe it, but sometimes time goes really fast. Yeah, if you want to get into the competitive scene, you really have to get a lot of good achievements, and you will get good achievements if you are a better player than the rest, and you just have to make sure that you can play well, you feel confident. Don't go to new decks, play your comfortable decks, don't go to decks that shall be better in this meta. I think for new players and for starting players, it's really important to stick to some certain classes, try to improve your playstyle with it, try to play them until perfection, and then you can maybe get into the professional scene or try to qualify for an awesome event. I think if you are a good player, being legend a lot of times, there is still a big switch into tournament play. Tournament play is, for me, as a tournament player, it is really different. Where on ladder people are most likely sticking to 1 or 2 decks that they like the most and play a lot of times. In tournament, you need the ability to play at least 3 or 4 classes, and there is a lot of format. There is way more strategy behind than in ladder. You play against a lot of good players, and it's not easy to get into the tournament scene by just playing ladder. It's something you can compare pretty well, but you need an extra step for tournaments.
Yeah, so Thijs telling us that you need to stick to your comfort deck to do well, and I remember him from a long time ago. Sticking to Druid, it's something of a trademark class for him, and he just plays it very well.
I know, and Handlock was another one he picked up later on, which he became very good at as well. So Druid and Handlock, which really complemented his playstyle for the metagame that's just gone. Patron, Druid, Handlock was kind of like the cookie cutter lineup you brought. So it definitely played to his strengths here. But Thijs, very talented player, he can play very different decks, multiple decks, and he has the practice circle he needs to perfect them.
Yeah, it's interesting because he was saying when the metagame was announced, like the change to Warcraft meta was announced, he said, this really hurts us. I mean, we're so good at Handlock, Druid, and Patron in the team. We're having to just redesign the way we approach the game as a result of the nerf. It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to that as a team.
I mean, if anyone can do it, it's definitely that team, right? G2 have a lot of talent in their pool. And so he's gone up against Dog. Dog recently signed a Team Liquid and having some good results so far. I'm sure Dog has plenty to say on that subject as well.
So for Hearthstone and me, I want to be considered like top 3 player and also a really good streamer. Those are my goals, at least for this upcoming year. So I'll finish college in a month or 2. I'll finish school, and then I guess we'll see how Hearthstone goes, and from there I'll plan out my future. Probably just doing graduate school somewhere. I'm not sure in what field, but we'll see. When it comes to losing games, what helps me, I usually just take a break for an hour or so, get my mind straight. Usually the losses don't affect me too much, but I usually take a break anyways, maybe do some physical activity because it usually helps with stress or dealing with those things. Other than that, I don't really do anything. I just play the game, start owning some scrubs.
I'm sorry, dog, but I wasn't listening. I was busy watching the decapitated orange hanging from your glass. It was very sad.
I can give you a round. A dog likes to get ripped and play Hearthstone. He likes to do some physical activities.
Oh, I get it.
Kick a ball, pick up something heavy, put it down, and keep picking it up again until he's strong.
20 push-ups per loss to Hunter, right?
Oh man, I mean,
You get ripped pretty fast.
yeah, you get ripped super fast. Even Secret Paladin, right?
Oh, goodness.
If you really want to work out and play Hearthstone, play a really bad deck, play on ladder, and try and get to legend, and do press-ups every time you lose. You will just be
Hearth Fitness, brought to you by Aquablood and Noxious. I don't even know, but I think we should start that. It sounds like pretty cool.
Hearthstone Fitness Club.
Yeah, I like it.
It involves losing a lot.
Hey, you have to run like on a treadmill, right? Like to mimic ladder, really? Like that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be like the ranks are gonna go up the longer you run. And eventually your goal is to get to the end of the treadmill, rank 1 legend.
And that is the advantage of Hearthstone being on devices such as tablets and phones. You can go to the gym and run on that treadmill and play Hearthstone at the same time.
Yeah, odds are you have a higher risk of injury, I'm sure, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
All right, so class-wise, Thijs did get his warrior banned. Dog doesn't want to play against that, and Dog's hunter is banned, which means they're both going to share the paladin and warlock class, whereas Thijs has his hunter and Dog his tempo mage that we've seen prior.
So we might see a few mirror matches coming up here, maybe see some deck building choices that kind of swing the matches in the favor, or not, because these lists have been pretty steady, I think. The Zoo lists have not had anything out of the ordinary. The Paladin lists are very different because, of course, Thijs is running the Zombie Chows into the Dr. Boom Tyrion. But I'm pretty sure Dog has Dr. Boom Tyrion as well, so...
Yeah, I feel like the advantage in the mirror match, though, would go to Thijs in that case because he's playing double Divine Favor, which can be a bit clunky at times. So Thijs is going to be starting off with the Hunter against Dog's Secret Paladin. Dog has a decent start, but so does Thijs.
Yeah, he has to Unleash the Hounds if he wants to keep it ready for that mess of a battle. Knife Juggler to go with that. He could actually potentially keep this whole hand, I suppose. There's a nice curve. He has a reactive card as well, Unleash the Hounds, dealing with the mess of a battle. What do you think?
I think this hand overall is very good. The best thing you could find maybe on top of this is a Mad Scientist, but how powerful is it early? Really, that's the question you have to ask yourself. So I really like this hand. I don't think there's any need to change anything. Maybe Powdered Shredder, you don't like it because Noble Sacrifice might come down at a really bad time, and then the Shredder will simply be negated by that.
I mean, you could fish for another 1-drop or another 2-drop. Right. But if you want to go for another 2-drop, you kind of got to drop the Lepinome because you will play 2-2-drops. Or you can just kind of play on curve here.
Cutting the Shredder is kind of okay.
Oh, another Shredder.
Well, yeah, one goes out, one comes back in.
Oh, another Shredder. Shredders are just flying around the place.
Welcome to Shredder City, where you get shredded.
Where you get shredded indeed. So a nice secret keeper here. It'll get buffed up by the Noble Sacrifice, create a bit of protection, and also nicely trades into a Lepinome if it does come down. But finding a Haunted Creeper here, Thijs has more options with his turn 1 play.
Yeah, what the Creeper does as well when you've got the Knife Juggler is that it allows you to, if there's a Noble Sacrifice that falls down, for instance, you can sacrifice the Creeper, you're going to get some juggles off. It's not necessarily going to be amazing, but I think overall it's a solid play. Now Dog gets a free kill on the Lepinome, and now Thijs has to respond. Might be willing to wait until turn 5 to pull the trigger on that combo. Maybe just play the Shredder on 3 instead of trying to go for fancy play immediately.
Dog was just considering there if he goes face and lets Lepinome die, but this Noble Sacrifice can hit some better targets.
Definitely, yeah.
Than just the Lepinome. Haunted Creeper is a nice card to counteract this Noble Sacrifice, because Knife Juggler can complement it really well. But there's also, like you said, with the coin, you can have a turn 4 Knife Juggler, Unleash the Hound's turn. There's a lot of things for Thijs to consider.
What I like about this, I mean, Dog, will he just pop the Spider to prevent the Juggler, or will he not? I think there's a good argument to be made for that, because it would really be crippling if it were to happen. Or if for instance, just Unleash the Hounds happens, the board is cleared, he keeps the Creeper, and you play a Shredder into it. It's not necessarily amazing, but he's just going to opt for the more aggressive play.
Turn 3 now.
Wow, the Knife hits or the Unleash. That's basically the two options you've got if you're Thijs.
He does have an Abusive Sergeant to go with one of these dogs as well, so he can trade up if he ever needed to, but he's probably not going to need to.
Oh, he does. Like, everything has 1 health. In this, at this moment, Thijs is liking his position just because he's denying the Noble Sacrifice, he's killing all the 1/1s, and he's also keeping the Haunted Creeper above 0 health, which means like, it doesn't die right now, which means the Knife Juggler might have time to come out and then abuse the Spider.
Yeah, get some more value there, and the Abusive Sergeant can actually go on for the Haunted Creeper as well, so he can trade up that way as well. So it's looking really good. And clearing the board's super important against this power most of the time, especially going to turn 4, because the Blessing of Kings is something that shows up way too often.
Now, Dog has the choice again of either popping the Spider or not. If you're waiting, if you're afraid of Juggler, maybe you're considering a trade, but to be consistent with his line of play, attacking seems like the right choice.
Yep, so now, Glaive Zuka, so that's another option. He could just develop his own Shredder if he's happy for Shredders to kind of go at it, or he could go for a Knife Juggler play and pop it, but it plays into Consecrate, so there's another thing he can consider there.
I really like forcing the Consecration from Dog. People, Stansevko is telling me that he doesn't think Dog has it. I assume Thijs has the same read, in which case here, playing the Juggler with the Abusive Sergeant, with the backup, Quick Shot if needed, or a Glaive Zuka, definitely good options for Thijs here.
And not only that, he can connect Glaive Zuka if something comes out with 2 health. Because the knives don't hit anything because of the Death Rattle order, because the Creeper was played first.
Oh,
an egg. Super passive for him.
What about we don't kill that?
Yeah, we'll leave that alone.
What about we just let that be?
But that's a good Blessing of Kings target, because once it dies, another 4/4 comes out.
It's really bad if he's got the Owl, but in this case, Dog, it probably will have to take the chance nonetheless, right? He can't really afford being passive here. Just empty your hand, play the Blessing of Kings, play the Noble Sacrifice, get a good Divine Favor on 6, and then play Dr. Boom on curve. I think Dog is looking brilliant here.
Yeah, I like Dog's line of play here. Clears up the Knife Juggler as well. He doesn't want any more shenanigans from that guy. And now Dog has a nice threatening egg, and Thijs knows that that's silence. Even if he does deal with it, a 4/4 is going to come out.
He absolutely needs the Owl, but he doesn't find it. Maybe Dog will not get the egg pot, but I'd be very surprised. I mean, you just play all the minions. You go Shredder, you go Scientist, you contest the board as much as you can, force Dog to have answers. Now, less cards in your hand means less of a good Divine Favor.
Yeah, Thijs playing around that Divine Favor really efficiently there. Not only that, he develops a really healthy board as well, some nice threats going down, something to challenge the egg as well in that piloted Shredder. Dog has good response. I like this game so far. It's very back and forth.
Yeah, no one yet has put something down that is going to cripple the opponent. It's
no
still
big
very
swings.
much anyone's game here. Abusive doesn't accomplish much, but it is something that lets you draw with Quick Shot.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he could hold on to the Quick Shot and Hero Power, because then you can play what he drew that turn and then Quick Shot, but it depends what he's really going to do with it.
Yeah, the Hero Power, I mean, you could definitely Hero Power here. It's definitely a viable option because you can just Quick Shot next turn.
And now Thijs playing to the strength of his hand here. A lot of aggression, going to put the heat on. Putting down Dog to 10 health if he chooses.
I like this play because what this does is... What's interesting about this play is that Thijs playing defensively and starting to trade here means that the moment Dog gets a big minion on the board, there's no win condition. Now Thijs, with the Quick Shot, instead of playing it, decides to maximize the value or the damage output from the Hero Power. So he's using that, and as a result of doing that play, he's guaranteeing that over 3 turns, there's a guaranteed lethal work.
Fairy Dragon. Not going to go down to the Creeper.
That's not good. Actually, that's lethal. That's it. I think Dog just dies here. Unless this is Explosive Trap, then maybe the Boombots can kill the Fairy Dragon. That's over. Quick Shot is going to seal it, and Thijs will take it.
Very good line of play from Thijs the previous turn. Like you said, he took the initiative. He felt I need to go for it now. If I go for it and he has no answers, I can finish him off the quick shot, squeezing that hero power. Instead he did quick shot turn before, and he did what hunters do best, I think, at that point in the game. Turn on the heat, turn on the aggression, and put the pressure on Dog, and it got a win from it.
Yeah, what's interesting too is that Thijs knew for a fact that Dog had 2 Divine Favors, and emptying his hand there guaranteed that there was no way for Dog to just get a crazy comeback draw. You know, when we saw him go Coin, Mad Scientist, Shredder, really shrinking the hand size, and Dog can't abuse his card engine. Even, you know, some people really debate the inclusion of 2 Divine Favors in Paladin.
I think the 2 is fine, especially if it's an aggressive deck. Maybe if you start squeezing in Dr. Boom and Tyrion, it might be worth to cycle one out just to make room for those guys. But 2 Divine Favors definitely helped Dog against Orange earlier today.
Yeah, that's right.
Really punishing those Ancient of Laws. So he has found some good use out of them.
Alright, so Thijs here with the Paladin is going to go up against the Zoo deck. Matchup-wise, I feel like the Secret Paladin's Divine Shields carry it very often.
Shield of Midibot is just super
exactly.
good.
That's really an important card to have early.
It's such a nuisance, that card, for most classes who rely on the kind of the early game minion battle or early game pressure. Shield of Midibot can just be a nightmare.
So Dog here is forced to have the Abusive Sergeant. Thijs is putting him in a position where he has to have the Abusive and thus forced to play off curve. But Dog has the Egg. It's a decent insurance against knife hits.
Knife hits face, doesn't hit the egg, which is pretty good because you don't want to pop that egg on it, so you want a Dog to have to use a card in order to activate it. Ooh, so secret time. Both these minions are pretty good for redemption. Minibot being the best.
Right, getting either of those is amazing, but the Minibot just gives you another 2 attack minion with Divine Shield that you can abuse. I'm not too sure how you'd approach this turn though. I feel like the knife hits are bad no matter what. If you play Noble Sacrifice, in Redemption, you're not spawning anything, but the moment the Imp-Gang boss attacks, if a knife hits the Imp-Gang boss, you spawn an extra Imp, right? And then an extra Imp from the attack into the Noble Sac, and the Redemption triggers on that, triggering another knife hit. So if you're going to play Noble Sac here, maybe you don't play the Redemption with it, because the only thing it will resurrect is the 2-1.
Yeah, you kind of want the Shield of Minibot to be hit by the Redemption, because you get to trade more, get more 2-for-1 opportunities. It looks like Thijs is just going to go for it here.
Yeah, with Blessing of Kings, you want to have stuff on the board. So whatever stays is good.
Power Overwhelming can hit the egg here, and you can get that 4-4. Probably going to test the trap here. Yeah, going to go for the Divine Shield first.
Wow. Let's see what happens with those knives.
There's potentially 2 imps from this guy.
Yeah, 3 even, because the Redemption will resurrect the 2-1. Oh my god, he gets it. The first one's out.
Want him?
Another one here. We'll see what the Redemption does.
Ooh, almost.
I think Dog is fairly happy about this outcome, right?
That is probably the best case scenario there. He gets 2 imps, he gets to keep his Ink-Gang box, so there's still another imp inside him ready to burst out.
He can power overwhelm the Juggler down with the egg, use the Imp-Gang boss, and then guarantee that the Doom Guard will be the demon that comes out of the Void Caller, assuming of course he doesn't top deck another one. And that's definitely a way to stay in this game and stay ahead in this game.
Yeah, I really like Imp-Gang boss. Here, like I said, Void Caller, guaranteeing that Doom Guard. You can get the 4-4 as well. Knife doesn't come back. Obviously, Redemption hit the get down. And this is a really threatening board from Dog.
That is really scary. If you're Thijs right now, alright, that will help a little bit. Muster for Battle, definitely a card you're happy about. You might opt to play it on turn 5, of course, to weave in an extra 1-1 that you'd be able to get from using your hero power. Whereas now, you're considering Shredder, of course. Blessing of Kings will let you kill that 4-4 without too many problems. So I'm guessing there's a really good argument for just playing the Bow to Shredder.
I think Shredder's fine.
Both are good. I think the Kings is amazing. Shredder's a bit slower because you're giving the initiative to your opponent. It's a bit, Kings makes you force the opponent to have like a crazy removal piece.
And you get rid of the 4-4, and you got the 6-6 sitting there. Shredder's probably the slower play. At least he's active now. He's not just sitting back and hoping Dog doesn't have answers. He said, putting on the pressure.
Alright, he did get the Void Walker, will play with the Void Caller, and now if this 3-4 dies, we have a guaranteed Doom Guard coming out for free.
Things are looking fantastic for Dog, and even the Concentrate doesn't do much here. This is the problem I think Paladin will have with Zoo.
That's a card that you want to have if you're Thijs. Do you play it now, though? That's the question.
I don't think so, no. There's too many things you don't want to hit with it.
Yeah, you're really only killing the imps at this stage, and you're spawning an extra one from the imp gang boss. I feel like muster for battle with hero power is an option. Shredder is an option. I like both of those plays a lot more than Consecration. You will trap your opponent with the Consecration later on.
Yeah, Consecration wants to hit Implosion, stuff like that. The two health minions. You don't want to kill 3 imps and give an imp back.
Exactly.
You know? It's just counterproductive, really. Shredder, I mean, the 6/6 is the threatening body. It does have to tank a 1/3, unfortunately, for Thijs, but at least he has stuff on board. At least he's forcing Dog to have some answers.
Now, Dog is guaranteed to get his Doomguard for free the moment he trades away the Void Caller into anything. And he will have all the freedom in the world to send those minions wherever he pleases. Oh,
I'm Bikal.
that is absolutely insane. That is beyond insane. For 4 mana, he wipes the entire board.
Yep. I'm Bikal on the Shredder. Follow the Dark Bomb.
Yep.
5/7 sitting there, nice. 2/4 that spawns imps as well. Such a threatening board from Dog. It's going to be really hard for Thijs to come back. He needs a Doctor 6 right now.
I feel like Messier's Challenger is his ticket out of this game if he wants to win it at all. Otherwise, I don't know what he could do. Double Muster will give him a lot of 1/1s. Maybe he can pull something off. Something crazy, really, with the Consecration Blessing of Kings combinations going forward. I don't know exactly what or how he'll pull it off, but it's going to take a lot of work.
He's going to take a lot of damage as well, only just being able to play a Muster for battle, or even 2. I mean, he does develops a lot of 1/1s, but that's something like a Competitive Spirit or a Quartermaster. They're not really a threat here. Dog can just push on his health total. Exactly. He doesn't have to start trading if he doesn't want to, and if he finds some more aggressive stuff like Abusive Sergeants, Dark-Eyed Dwarfs if he's running them, Dr. Boom.
So here, you know, these cards are amazing, but at the same time, they're not allowing Dog to play something this turn, which I'm pretty sure he's not very happy about. Dog's playing like half defensively.
He kind of had to because he didn't drop anything.
Yeah, but now Thijs gets a semi-decent turn.
He can clear this Doomguard if he likes with the Blessing of Kings, but he kind of throws away the Blessing of Kings as well.
Yeah, he throws everything away right now if he goes for that. I wonder what you even do in Thijs' position, if you think you even have a chance to win. Is attacking the Imp Gang boss, going for Consecration, playing your hero power, and going for Avenge the better play?
That's what I was just thinking then. Yeah, clear out the imps, make sure that Imp Gang boss just is completely taken out with his little friends, and then he just has to hope no powerful Whelmings, no buffs are going to be there, or another Doomguard for Dog. Living on a prayer.
Similar line of play here. You know, never mind the Consecration, we don't have to. Instead, we can get a 5/3. Much better to keep a 5/3 with a bunch of 1/1s. Than just having more imps to deal with. I like this one from Thijs. Definitely much better than what we considered. Now Dog, with the Doctor balanced, has another option.
Yep, just drop Dr. Boom, smack him in the face, hope for the best.
The safe play could be Implosion with Mal'Ganis as a follow-up, right? It's not like you can die, right?
I don't think you can. I don't think there's enough burst. I don't think you even have to trade. Really.
It's really curious because if there's a Messier's Challenger with Noble Sacrifice, you are in a bad spot even with Dr. Boom, right? That's what I feel like. If you play the risky play, yeah, that's a much safer play, and it's still probably going to lead
in Hearthstone pretty early. I played from the beta.
Consecrate and Avenge. Already has an Avenge down. Not very effective here. And with a Dr. Boom and Boom Bots and all that, it's going to be super tough.
There's a chance for lethal right here.
Just from the Boom Bots alone.
Oh, this is amazing. Let's see how this Consecration pans out.
This one dude may protect him.
Maybe he'll soak some damage. Maybe he won't. Either way, Dog doesn't have lethal next turn based on this hand alone. So maybe Thijs is able to top deck Messier's Challenger and stay in the game. As I said, Dog playing safe is giving Thijs a small window of opportunity. A very small one.
Let's see it, Thijs. Drop that Consecrate.
To drop that Consecrate. Now, what he's wondering is, do I play a 1/1 now to soak damage? Is it better to just have more shields, human shields, in front of me or not?
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you get two falls to the face, you're dead, so it might as well restrict that. But there's 1/4.
Whoa! Doomguard top deck will be a win if he picks one up. Thijs needs to find Messier's Challenger right now. Does he even have a Noble Sacrifice left? I completely forgot.
I don't think so. I think he's used them.
That is not a card that's going to give you the win. That will be it. Dice with nowhere to go but the face, and an immune face, he has to scoop it, and Dog will equalize the series.
Yep, ties it up, so Dog is now on the road to winning the series. He's got a win under his belt. You can hopefully use that momentum now to secure his spot in tomorrow's double elimination bracket, which is super important for Dog right now. Thijs is just playing for the sake of playing now. He's in tournament. He's not gonna hold back. He's still gonna go for it.
Yeah.
He wants to be the top of the group. He wants to be the top dog. So
goodness,
we'll have
you need to
see.
stop making that one.
Every time I think like it just comes to me.
It's so corny. I need to do it.
Yeah.
Alright, so Dog here with the Mage and Paladin left against Thijs' Paladin and the Warlock, so they both still have to win with their Paladin. Turns out the deck hasn't been performing as well as they wanted. Now Thijs will give it another shot immediately, and Tempo Mage will be there from Dog to meet it. I'm ambivalent about which one has the better matchup. It comes down mostly to the way the Mage deck is built.
Well, Mana Worm definitely helps. I mean, that's a great one drop for Dog. He does have a Clockwork Gnome as well. This is the first time I've seen a Clockwork Gnome in any of his hands. Did he draw it in the previous game?
We've seen it, I think, with Stan Sivko when he was casting with me. Like, we saw the Clockwork Gnome. It's something that works very well, of course, with Flamewaker. It's the same concept that you can apply with Archmage Antonidas, right? Another piece of synergy to get value out of your spells.
Yep, it works really well for it. And, of course, Finicky Cloakfield Antonidas is really powerful. I know it's 1 in 7 or 8, but when it does happen, it usually wins you the game.
Alright, so Dog here has to find the answer to this puzzle. Do you just go for Clockwork Gnome, Arcane Blast? Do you not Arcane Blast and let the Paladin do what he wants with those spiders? And by that I mean play a Juggler and smash it into your Clockwork Gnome.
And this is... Oh, speaking of Juggler...
Thijs picks up a really good card here. He could opt to go for a Haunted Creeper, but I don't think there's any merit to getting more knife hits. This is a perfect opportunity to benefit from those hits.
Yeah, you'll definitely put a nice body, and Mana Worm will definitely want to challenge this Knife Juggler, and then Dog will start trading. He'll still have the 1/1s. He followed up with Must of a Battle on next turn. It's looking really good for him.
So one of the things to note as well about... Dog can actually use...
Reverse and switch to kill the...
Wait, if you go for Sorcerer's Apprentice, you actually get to keep the Mana Worm. If you go Sorcerer's Apprentice, Arcane Blast on the Juggler, reversing switch your Mana Worm, it's got more health than attack, and you can keep it alive.
That sounds really good to me. Let's see if he sees it.
I'm pretty sure he will. There's also the opportunity to just use Flame Cannon as an extra +1 health on your Mana Worm.
Just make the bulkiest Mana Worm of all time. It looks like he's seen it. Arcane Blast first. Comes a 2/2.
Mana Worm will be a permanent 2/3 if he wants it to be.
Oh, he could just hold up for reverse and switch. Huh.
That'll be a 1/3 now, not a 2/3.
Yeah, he could. If he had switched first, he would have had more stats.
I think he might realize it right now.
Because he's traded and he's like, wait a minute.
Oh, so he's committing to that line of play. I feel like Dog's face indicates that he saw the play, but it was too late.
And now Must of a Battle cleans up the Apprentice.
Yeah, there's also something to say maybe about valuing the reversing switch on the Apprentice to give it more health in the future. Maybe that's what he was aiming for.
Blood Mage Falnos, wow. That's another card I haven't seen yet. Dog's throwing some surprises at me.
Yeah, that's
in his
very
last game.
surprising. The Blood Mage style, I mean, it does work well with Arcane Missiles.
That's true, gets an extra missile, but... What's Dog? So this is like super aggressive Tempo Mage then. Oh, is this even like aggro Mage? Because me and Dog were actually playing one of his aggro Mage decks on ladder the other day.
Yeah, I know Dog likes to tinker with some of the Tempo Mage decks and make some of the slower variants sometimes and the faster ones a lot more often.
Never Sorcerer's Apprentice. I think hitting the reversing switch on that Mana Worm was super beneficial because he would have had a nice body to keep trading into these 1/1s. It just kind of went down to...
I think that would have been probably one of the better plays, but I'm wondering what he's keeping the reversing switch for. Maybe he's got a play in mind that I'm not thinking about. Toshly, I'm not sure. Oh, Thijs picks up a True Silver Champion. Not always a good card, but in a position like this when there's a stalemate, you could play it, if you need to kill whatever comes out of the Shredder. Otherwise, you have the option of or Shredder number 2.
Armor Smith. So he can clear the board with his weapons and his dudes alone, and he can just drop low feb.
Exactly.
Nice 5/5. Lock out those spells as well. Flame Cannon won't be as efficient.
Yeah, and you can curve nicely in turn 6 with True Silver, Haunted Creeper, or just go for a Paladin Shredder Haunted Creeper. You've got all the options in the world.
Balance cycles into more card draw.
Yeah, which if Lothep falls down, Dog is going to have a really bad day. Oh man, poor Dog.
I mean, what would you play otherwise? Creeper must have a balance? Is that what he's considering? No, low fab. I like low fab.
You mean playing as many 1/1s as he can?
Oh man, poor Dog. I guess you just play Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I do like the ping the Lothep now. Then next turn you can reversing switch the Armor Smith, ping it, then Flame Cannon the Lothep. Or not.
He seems to just want to trade, but actually that's a very good point there. You seem to know a lot about this reversing switch card.
I just play way too much with those gimmicks, I think. I just tend to spot the gimmicky plays very quickly.
That's a strong play though, if he had gone for it, but he just wants to line up a trade. He's trying to force a low feb to tank some damage from the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I mean, I like this line of play as well, in that what it does is it forces the Paladin to use his weapon and the minion that he's got, the Armor Smith, to trade into your Sorcerer's Apprentice, but you don't necessarily need to. Let's see whether or not the line of play he took paid off. I feel like so far Tyson's just dominating.
He's just kept board for so long, and it's been since that Mana Worm couldn't really stick around, and ever since Dog hasn't really found an opportunity to get board back. Drake will help him cycle.
You could play the Drake and get a really good hit on the Lothep, but with a True Silver Champion, you feel a little iffy about it, because you know you're basically feeding your opponent a free minion.
I do like this more though. Cycle into Fireball, it's guaranteed. Like you said, the Flame Cannon is super risky. If it doesn't hit the low fab, you'll just be really upset.
Zombie Chow, not a card you're happy to see until there's a mirror entity on the other side of the board, but it is insurance against a mirror entity, something that Thijs will probably hold in his hand for a while.
Yep, you get some nice interaction there. Oh, it looks
or, never mind.
He's just going to slam it now. He just wants to keep the pressure on. If you've seen enough of Dog's deck, you'll probably know if he's running a Flame Strike or not. I haven't seen one. I doubt he is. I don't know where he'd squeeze it in with the Clockwork Gnomes and stuff.
Yeah, it seems like it would be very difficult to find room for it. Now, Thijs has got quite a substantial amount of damage, but no lethal spotted just yet. So Dog's Dr. Boom may potentially turn the game around if all the boom bots hit absolutely madly.
I mean, Sludge Belcher can actually just protect his board, drop the Avenge as well, so he gets a nice buff to kind of float about.
And ignore the Dr. Boom.
And ignore the Dr. Boom and go face. That's a way he could do it, but it looks like he wants to trade here.
Oh, those boom bots becoming liabilities here. That is a very bad outcome for Dog. Thijs is thinking about this. I'm not sure what he wants to do. Boombot will kill the egg. Whoa!
Great
the face
RNG.
of Dog is that of a defeated man. He feels like he just crawled under the rain and in mud for days. He's just kind of forced to wash himself. It's nasty. Poor Dog.
Yeah, just use a True Silver here. I think double Fireball is something he's maybe thinking about, or double Fireball Frostball, but the likelihood of that is very unlikely. And you have such a dominant board position now, sitting at 18 health as well. You just play the Belcher, play the Avenge, Hero Power, be a happy man.
Oh, that does nothing. And now Dog with the Flame Waker has the potential to clear up a lot of the board if he gets another spell that's going to help him out, like an Arcane. Oh, that could be it. That could be a very good card for Dog. Potentially a Baron Geddon top deck.
Alright, I like this. He doesn't want any more armor going to Thijs.
Yeah, well...
and he's rewarded for it.
But the Avenge will hit, and the Avenge will go on the Spider.
Which is great for Thijs, because he spreads the power along his board and makes the Flame Waker less efficient, hitting those 1/1s.
It does make Flame Cannon a lot more relevant. Now the 1/1 will get hit. No! Is this the beginning of a comeback? Could it be?
Mukla? It's the other way, right? You want the bananas. You don't want to give him bananas.
Right. I mean, if you play King Mukla and Lothep, though, it's an amazing combo.
And if you play the King Mukla against Stan Sifka, he'll be a super happy man. He can eat bananas outside of the game and inside the game.
Potassium overdose. I like it. But now it looks like Dog with Mukla Lotheb, you know, he actually, like, on 10 mana next turn, he has got a crazy turn. He's locking out the bananas from being played, he's just developing an Azure Drake, and Thijs doesn't have the power that he used to. If the Zombie Chow dies, that's 5 health that Dog can bank on, just to stay safe.
Lockout spells, draw a card, develop 2 5/5s and a 4/4.
That sounds pretty good to me.
That sounds excellent.
Now, Thijs is going to drop all the 1/1s in the world. And Dog might opt to ping the Zombie Chow if he thinks he's dead. There's always a chance that, you know, pinging the Zombie Chow is a proper play because it keeps you safe.
Especially if he thinks this will be a competitive spirit if he does play the secret.
Yeah, I mean, he's dead on board if he doesn't kill the Zombie Chow, I think.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe not an Azure Drake with it, or maybe not a Lothab.
Redemption here for Thijs just looks like Zombie Chow is going to get hit and then
come back and give him more health.
Yeah, and Dog probably doesn't want that. Wow, Dog can actually give his opponent a spell and follow it up with Lothab and ping the Zombie Chow. This is actually fantastic. Flame Strike. Oh my god, that is a spell.
Competitive spirit as well.
Whoa.
No Lothab.
I will say one thing.
I guess he feels the ping is enough to keep him alive. 4,
I mean,
6.
Dog will not assume that this is a redemption, right? I mean, why would you play redemption if you're Thijs and a Zombie Chow's on 1 health, would you? Hey, he still has to do it because it is 2 damage mitigated, plus he gets the 5 health. Effectively, he's mitigating 7. Now, Dog will be happy.
I can get more health later on in life.
Oh, goodness. Alright.
Double competitive spirit.
It is still lethal on board, though, so
Yeah.
Thijs really can't lose this one.
It was interesting.
It was beautiful.
The mirror image didn't get to be squeezed in there. What was he looking for with the Azure Drake, I wonder?
I really wonder. I really thought he was going to go for Spellslinger with Lothab, then play, you know, a ping on the Zombie Chow, or just, I mean, the mirror image, that is. That would maybe have kept you alive. So he's just going to lose this one to Thijs, which will give him the advantage.
Maybe Arcane Missiles is what he was looking for, because you can play the Arcane Missiles with mirror image. That may have kept him in the game.
That's a good point. He would have been able to kill a lot more things, and he maybe had 2 left in the deck, which could have changed. Maybe a Flame Waker as well. You know, Flame Waker with the mirror image, keeping him in the game.
There's a lot of things that's probably going through Dog's head there.
Yeah, I think his line of play was definitely correct based on what he thought he had.
Alright, the Paladin's going to come back here and against the Zoo. So we saw Dog's Zoo beat Thijs' Paladin. Let's see if Thijs can do the same. Return the favor. But one thing Thijs is running, which I haven't seen Dog run, is the Sea Giants, which is kind of an old flavor Zoo went through for a while. With all kind of the tokens it spawns from Implosion, the Haunted Creeper, interacts really well.
Well, an interesting thing too about Sea Giant here in this matchup is that the only answer you really have is a Repentance, a well-timed one. And because you're flooding the board so much, Thijs can abuse the fact that you're using Muster for battle very early. He's got Creepers already, so Thijs is possibly going to play that Sea Giant a lot earlier than you'd normally expect it.
I know, with Implosion as well, I mean, and he said Muster for battle, there's a lot of things that create, make the Sea Giant really cheap. It's going to be tough for him to deal with it once it comes down. These Warlocks, they can squeeze Giants in anywhere.
Yeah, it's very easy. Whatever deck you play, Giants are probably a good fit in Warlock, and now Thijs picking up the Juggler.
Interacts so well here with the Haunted Creeper. He still needs a bit of RNG in his favor, but
I think overall he's got a good chance, right? He's throwing 2 knives, and there's a 33% chance every time.
creates more 1/1s, makes his Giant cheaper. It all works out.
He's thinking of pinging the shield here, because that way if he brings one of them to 1 health, then the 1/1s, or 2 of them to 1 health, and the 1/1s can take care of them. Make a trade, and he's good to go.
Happy days. Secret Keeper, Noble Sacrifice seems pretty obvious, but Dog has used his hero power in the past to some great extent as well, being very patient.
Yeah, I don't necessarily mind going for a Secret Keeper hero power. I think it's fine to contest the board that way, because really, Noble Sacrifice doesn't do much for you. It's basically just stopping a 1/1 the same way that your 1/1 would stop it as well.
Exactly.
So in effect, all you're gaining is really just the, oh goodness, Thijs gets the Implosion with the Egg
For
Terror
4.
on 5, or the Sea Giant. You do whatever you want, ThijsNL. The board is yours, but Consecration says hello.
Yeah, Consecration is going to clean us up and stop the Sea Giant. The Sea Giant was super happy then. I get to come out, but now Consecration gets rid of it. Back to 10 mana.
Yeah, and Thijs doesn't care. Nerubian Egg, Void Terror. Nah, you know, that's a pretty good play.
Yeah, that's a really strong play.
It's a 3-5 and a 4-4. It's not as impactful on 5 as it would be necessarily on curve into turn 3. You know, Dog does have the Lothar to deal with this if he wants. He can play Muster for battle with Noble Sacrifice if he wants to stall. Overall, I really like the Lothar. Shredder is also an option with Noble Sacrifice.
Alright, locking out spells for Thijs. Thijs doesn't have any spells. Zoo not running many. Only 2 power overwhelmings generally. Sometimes a Dark Bomb. I know Dog's list was running a Dark Bomb. I don't know if he was running 2. So it's not going to have much of an effect here. So Thijs does have a Void Walker to tank this low feb. May let him be a bit more aggressive.
To keep in mind as well about the Void Walker is that yes, it does tank something, but it also means the Void Caller brings out nothing. And you might want to force your opponent to trade into that 3-4. Oh, Dog getting the top deck.
Little smile from him as well when it came off the top. Full Christmas tree as well.
Face. I like face.
Face.
Maybe trading the 3 into the 3-5 is fine.
Yeah, the 3-5 I think.
4-4 is actually just as good as of a trade, right? Yeah. Because what hits you for 1 in Zoo that doesn't hit you for 2?
You just need like Knife Juggler shenanigans, but that's not always that reliable.
I mean, Thijs can go if he wants to into Void Walker. I mean, Abusive Sergeant first, into Void Walker, into Sea Giant. He can do all those things right now. And he's going to be able to play all the cards.
And he limits the effectiveness of Repentance, which we were talking about. Has to be very specific what it targets. But you can play around it very easily with Zoo because you have a lot of 1-drops as well, which you can kind of play out first, and then you can play your Giant after.
And now the Lothar being buffed here is not something Dog's too happy about, I don't think. I mean, I don't know really what he feels about it. I mean, this lets Thijs life tap to find maybe a better demon. Oh my god, and he finds it! You play Abusive first, don't you? You go Abusive, Void Walker, Sea Giant, straight away to 3-4, then you get Mal'Ganis out, and you're golden. Or you don't.
He just gets hit by the Repentance, but I think it doesn't really matter, right? It's just so much going on here.
Yeah, it kind of, I mean, it doesn't really matter in that you can use the Abusive and PO, Power Overwhelming, for damage later on, right?
Yeah, maybe he sees it as better for burst, right?
Yeah, I think I like that play a lot more. The Abusive was only necessary to tank the Repentance, but if you're okay with the Void Walker tanking it, it's fine. Oh man, that's a big turtle.
Well, you can trade into the 9-7, but there's still an 8-8 sitting there and a 3-3, so...
I mean, you could technically just use Blessing of Kings, kill the 9-7, then use Knife Juggler with Noble Sacrifice and troll your opponent. That's a very, very trolly play.
And Dog's not really much of a troll when it comes to playing. He's very efficient. He likes to play things quite smoothly and steadily.
What do you? Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you think about a Kings on the 3-2? Is that ever something you can justify? You know, you go kill Kings with 3-2, then you kill the 5-5 with the 7-7, and then you go Noble Sacrifice. Ah, never mind. It makes no sense. It's better to just trade this way.
It's tough either way. I mean, there's a lot of stats on board for Thijs the Dog has to deal with. He has to kind of just throw away everything. He does actually play the Kings on there. Okay, so he keeps his keeps him alive. Yeah, I like it.
It's forcing a really awkward trade for Thijs. You know, playing the Noble Sacrifice here is trolling Thijs. Exactly what we were speaking of at the beginning of the turn.
So Void Terror, sorry, actually gained health from the Mal'Ganis dying.
It healed up, yes, it does heal. It's a weird interaction in that it does heal.
Oh, Argus.
So Thijs could get how much damage here? He has 8 from the Giant if it goes through. He's got an extra 6. It's not enough for lethal, but Thijs could go for a trade. You know, you attack with the Giant first to face, and then you trade the 3-5 away into the 11-2 if you want. Or maybe you just kill the Juggler and go for Defensive Argus.
Potentially, yeah. Depends how aggressive he wants to be. I quite like being aggressive here because he has a lot of burst in hand. Where all the cards in his hand give stats.
Yeah, I kind of like going face with the Giant, triggering Noble Sac, attacking with the Juggler. I mean, attacking the Juggler with the Terror, and then you just play Direwolf and Defender with the Void Terror, and that way your Giant stays safe from the 11-2.
Well, Zoo's doing what Zoo does best here, trading efficiently. I mean, you can't be super aggressive, but yeah, he can just Argus these two guys up, protect his giant, and force this Mysterious Challenge to run into one of the taunted minions. And he still has a lot of burst in hand.
Oh my god. Alright, so Dog does get the Blessing of Kings, but I have to wonder if it's enough. Like, at this point, even if he kills one of those, the amount of burst that Dice is holding on in his hand is massive.
Oh, for sure. It's so easy for Thijs to kind of wrap this game up with that damage in hand. Dog's going to have to find a miracle here, I think, to be able to fight back. Because not only because he's running out of answers, Thijs gets 2 cards per turn, and he'll always be able to develop minions. So that's what Zoo does best, just keep flooding the board. And Dog needs, like... Dog can't even swing with Divine Favor in this matchup, because Thijs will more than likely play his hand, right?
Right, exactly.
So it's super tough. It's super tough for the Paladin at this point in the game, where... the Zulot can trade as efficiently as he needs to. Finds another Argus, so even more stats.
I think that is lethal. The extra 2 damage here was exactly what he needed because it gave him exact lethal, if I'm not mistaken, on 20. Yeah, that's pretty cute. Oh, he's too overkill. Never mind. He already had lethal. Didn't need to play that extra bit.
And Dog is actually going to lose to Thijs here. Thijs taking a 4-1 overall in this round robin. Dog still... Well, yeah, 4-1. Dog still has a lot of work to do. He still needs to play... Well, he needs to rely on...
Dog is actually over right now. He's played all his games. What he has to wait for is for everybody else. Cypher is still in the run. Kalento's still in the run. See which of these 2 players ends up at the bottom so that the tie can decide who goes first. We'll hear some thoughts from Thijs, who probably is very happy about his result.
Very much. And again, I can talk to you. Congratulations. And I have a few questions, of course. So, you're now on the first place in the group. Have you expected the result like this?
Not expected. I was just hoping that I will advance, and I was happy with my lineup. So yeah, I'm happy it goes so well, but didn't expect it.
And now you actually guaranteed your slot in the playoff. Who do you think you will join you?
Well, Orange is already guaranteed. I think Sivka is a really strong lineup, and he might join. And as far as it will be maybe a surprise. I don't actually know.
Also, you've used your Paladin's deck twice in this series. So why do you think you've lost first time?
That was against his Zoo. Yeah, it was really rough. I was just behind. I missed the consecration when I needed it, but and I couldn't really come back. It was just a really hard game for me.
Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations again. And we go back to our casters.
Alright, so that's it for Thijs. He's done. He's played everything. He's going to the playoffs. Best score so far in the league. Stansivka is the only one who can maybe catch up. You know, he's playing the next match against Orange. He's got a chance to go up 4-1. But again, Orange, you know, he can get himself an extra win. It's fine, but I think he's already in.
Yeah, I think Orange is happy where he is now. And Stansivka, of course, is one of the favourites to go through now. If we look at the table, Orange second place ties at the top there, 4-1. Stansivka 2-2 can get a 3-2 and secure his spot. Dog is unfortunately going to have to rely on maybe results from other opponents like Kalento and Cypher to determine where he is placed and if he qualifies.
I mean, we see Stansivka here at 2-2. He's got a chance to end up 2-3, right? Which will put him in the bottom tier, which means the Dog is relying on that perhaps to move forward. Orange is in the same spot that Thijs was a second ago, which is if I win, so be it. If I lose, it doesn't really matter because I'm already in the playoffs as 3-1. So Orange is basically, again, playing for fun or, you know, swag points.
Orange can really shake things up, actually. If he does win this next game, the bracket at the bottom starts to become a little bit...
It shifts a lot.
It shifts a lot, yeah. And then the Kalento Cypher may be a big match then, because that could decide where... Well, it could make a really big tiebreaker between 3 players, depend on this next game. So all to play for in these next 2 matches.
Yeah, they will depend on what happens next. So we'll be right back after break, guys, for the next match. We have 2 more to go. They will determine who enters the playoffs tomorrow. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
From east to west, heroes are sent, seeking glory in the greatest of events. There are knights on noble steeds, those who will bring them to their knees. There are monsters to test their mettle at every turn. Legends will rise based on their merits. There's even pirates riding parrots. It's the grand